Hi guys, Jason Whistler here with Ninja Success. Um, just a quick one today. I wanted to share with you. I was teaching martial arts uh, this evening, so of course that's where my head has been. Now, when I'm teaching, there's two ways you can go about teaching most things, and one is to teach based on techniques. You can teach methods or tactics or techniques, right? So how do you deal with X? Oh, well, you step over here, you grab this, you move this way, and then they fall down. That's a technique. The other way to teach, the other way to learn things is to focus on principles. And that's where I tend to be. That's where I tend to focus. So I use techniques to demonstrate principles. So, for instance, if we're teaching how to take somebody that has applied a grabbing kind of a technique and they've shoved you backwards, there are principles how to negate or how to nullify the impact of their initial contact. And then there are principles for how to move a body or how to get someone to either let go or fall down or back up. Okay? So I could teach hundreds of techniques for all of the different ways that you could possibly knock somebody back, cause them to let go, or cause them to fall down. Or we can discuss and we can work on the handful of principles that are required that you would need to know and understand and be able to apply. And once you can understand a principle, if you master a principle, then suddenly many, many techniques become easy to replicate. So I'd like you to take a look around you, take a look at what you know and the things that you've practiced, the things that you're learning, and take a look when you're trying to master any new skill. Are you looking at it from a principle perspective, which should be applicable broadly, or are you looking at it from a technique perspective? So let's say in business, there are sales techniques, there are closing techniques, there are marketing techniques, right? If you do X in this situation, it will help you close the sale. If you include or use certain colors versus other colors in your marketing, your advertising pieces, it may more likely influence this sort of a response. So these are kind of technique-based focuses, things that you could do. And the challenge there is that everybody has their own tactics and their own techniques. And so you can end up following guru after guru after guru and just collecting massive numbers of techniques. And they're difficult to apply if you don't have the exact situation right. There's too many variables. So the way to deal with that is to look at it. And if you've gone through a couple of different programs in particular, look at what do the techniques have in common, because that points you to where principles are probably laying, where there's a principle that you can leverage. Like, okay, these are all different ways to accomplish something really similar. What are we really doing? How are we dealing with this? So principles are like understanding the basics, the foundational core pieces for human interactions, right? Having good rapport with someone helps when trying to discuss something, when trying to help them solve a problem, when trying to help them find a good solution, when trying to close a sale. Now, there are tactics and techniques for developing rapport, but the principle is, without rapport, a lot of tactics and techniques for closing aren't going to work. So you need to have these foundational pieces, these principles in place. In the case of, throwing somebody to the ground in the martial arts, understanding that the spine and where it is in relation to their feet and hips, if it's in good alignment, if the joints in their body move smoothly, they're going to be much harder to throw. If you can misalign one or two pieces, now the joints have less motion. Now a little bit of movement on your part to shift their body has a much greater impact. So understanding, okay, what are the most important pieces that I need to have in place before I can move forward? So my suggestion is, whatever it is you're attempting to learn, see if you can figure out the principles behind it, the foundational details, the critical pieces. And more often than not, what you'll find is that for any given thing, there's only going to be a relatively limited number of principles. And once you have the principles down pat, learning all the techniques becomes easy, and then it's just a matter of understanding the little differences, the one variable that causes this technique to work in this situation versus this technique in the other situation. The principles underlying both don't change. So it makes you a lot more effective and a lot more efficient. So that wasn't exactly quick, but it's some food for thought. Take a look at what the principles are around you, what you've learned, what you're working on, and take a look what the techniques are, and really take a look to see if your focus right now is perhaps overly on gathering more and more techniques. And if it is, take a step back and look at your collection of techniques to see what the underlying principles are, and then spend some time focused on the principle details and get mastery of those. And that'll take you a really long way. So, I hope that helps. And remember, Success Ninjas never quit. There's a lot of stuff to do, and some of this stuff is hard. So we just keep going, little piece at a time, little step. All right. Have a good night. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.